What's up, everybody? It's me, Greg Miller from the IGN PlayStation team, and as I'm sure you all know, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves comes out in less than a month now. To get ready for it, we're here to compare Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. Alongside me from Naughty Dog, Richard Lamarchian, co-lead game designer on Uncharted 2. Richard, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Greg. It's great to be here.
Now, one of the big things we're doing here is comparing Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
What are some of the lessons you guys took from, making that first game into this one?
Wow, well, I barely know where to begin. We learned so much making this game. We're looking at it right now. We learned so much about how to make great character action games, specifically about how to make games that really bring gameplay and cinema even closer together. We've been talking a lot throughout the making of Uncharted 2 about the active cinematic experience, and just looking at the sequence of gameplay here, so much comes back to me about the discoveries that we made while we were developing Uncharted Drake's Fortune.
I mean, how do you balance something like this? We're watching, Drake infiltrate the submarine. There's a lot of quick time events here, rotating things, tapping things. Did you feel, I know sometimes some people thought this went on too long, maybe they broke up the intense gameplay. How did you merge them in Uncharted 2? Well,
yeah, it's very interesting looking at this sequence of gameplay, because I think when we were designing the path that Nate takes through the submarine, we weren't quite sure whether we'd got the balance right, whether there wasn't enough going on in this sequence. But actually we found that while maybe we could have fine-tuned the balance a little bit better, the rhythm, the way that the rhythm of the game changed between these sequences of exploration, where we get more of a chance to let the player breathe and take in some more of the story and take in storytelling through environment, which is very much what's happening here on the U-boat, as opposed to the kind of the high voltage action of all of the gunplay and the melee combat. I think that we found it working much better than any of us expected, really, and so we've definitely fine-tuned the balance in Uncharted 2, and a big kind of explosion of action is never far away.
So Richard, I mean, you talk about that there's explosive action never that far away. How do you keep the story going? I mean, that's one of the things you guys are known for, is a really engrossing tale. Absolutely. Well,
I think that keeping the pace of the story up involves a number of things. First of all, it involves a lot of planning. We're always very careful to plan the overall arc of the story right from the very get-go, and we come up with a whole bunch of ideas that we know are going to be somewhere in the mix for the story, and then carefully plan out the sequence that the levels are going to come in, and think about the way that the gameplay is going to change from level to level, and the way that that can inform the events of the story. I mean, that's particularly important when it comes to Nate's relationship with his allies. So we pay careful attention and think about the way that he's going to meet this person here and travel on this journey, both physical and emotional, with them to this other point in the story where people will get separated or allegiances will change, and I think that that's one of the real arts, and I think that that's one of the real art forms, both of traditional linear storytelling and storytelling in interactive form, like that of video games.
Are we going to see more moments like this one right here? I mean, the big reveal, Sully gets shot, and everything's hinging on this, or is it more going to be spread out, little pieces?
No, for sure. I mean, this is a classic Uncharted moment, where we have the kind of the what the heck of a U-boat, which is stranded in the middle of the jungle. That was something that we call on the team a moment, and it was kind of a strong visual image that came to us early on as very inspiring, something that we wanted to have in the game. And so, yeah, of course, Uncharted 2 is full of those. In fact, we've upped the ante, I would say, incredibly.
Without spoiling anything, what are some of those U-boat kind of places you'd see? Or I mean, when you're designing the game, what do you think? I want that in the game. I just don't know how I'm going to get it there.
Oh, for sure. Wow. Well, I barely know where to start. I mean, just at PAX this weekend, we were showing the train journey that Nate takes from the war-torn Nepalese city that we've shown quite a bit of up into the mountains of Tibet. And this was definitely one of those moments that we thought would be absolutely instrumental in capturing the feeling of an action-packed cinematic adventure, and that had never really been done in a video game in quite the way that we wanted to do it. Sure, there have been lots of trains in video games before, but there's never really been one where the train is a real train moving through a level. And so this was actually one of the first levels that we started planning, and it required us to create a whole new technology, a technology that, as I look at Uncharted Drake's Fortune, is one of the things that's really stands out as a big difference in the games for me. The fact that we gave Nate and his allies and the enemies the ability to use all of their moveset on any moving object in the game. And of course the trains are simply objects that move through the world. So we were able to create a train level where you could actually look around you in the environment and you can see the front of the train kind of curving around a bend on the tracks ahead. You can look back down it and see where it's going to. It's a real train.
Well, that's an interesting one. I mean, as we watch, Uncharted, the original right here is, Nate fights these people and they go down certain ways. When I played at E3, I got to, watch the building come down and things, and I saw the demo 3 different times, and every time something different happened. Like, that's an advancement. I mean, how did you guys make that leap? How does that go about happening?
Well, I mean, it happens in lots and lots of different ways, I suppose. We've been really focused in the development of Uncharted 2 on giving the player even more choice than they had in the first Uncharted. We've always talked about our game in terms of a wide linear experience. So, we're not an interactive storytelling game in the style of some other games. We definitely have a certain story that we want to tell. But from moment to moment in the course of the gameplay events, we want the player to have as much choice as they can possibly have. And I think that worked out well in Uncharted. I mean, when I think about how I play through this level, it's quite different from the way that Sam's playing it right now. But in Uncharted 2, because of the addition of stuff like our action stealth mechanics, where we've given you the ability to kind of sneak around the enemies more than you can in Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Because of all the new weapons that we've added, new ways of controlling the grenades, and just in terms of the level layout, the way that we've seeded the environments with more paths through them, so that you can come around this way, or you can climb over the top of that building and approach the combat setup from that direction. I think that yeah, that's something that we've found really rewarding in terms of each individual's experience of the gameplay.